Paul's letter to the Galatians talks about whether or not the Christians of Galatia should be circumcised. He wrote it to the churches of Galatia. More specifically, some people say he wrote to the Celts in the north, and some say to the churches of the Roman province. St. Paul wrote this letter because there was a disagreement between Galatian Christians and Jews. Jews were trying to persuade the Christians that in order to be a perfect Christian, circumcision had to be done. They claimed that St. Paul didn't explain Christianity to its perfection. After that, St. Paul placed himself in direct opposition to the Prince of the Apostles. Galatians felt abandoned when he left them, and they started to consider Jewish festivals but didn't accept circumcision. It was written in the south of Galatia and written after he evangelized North Galatia in the mid-50s after 1 Thessalonians and 1 Corinthians, but before Romans. So this letter's major theme was that a person is justified not by the works of the law, but through faith in Jesus Christ.
This theme of faith and its importance over the law is elaborated by St. Paul throughout his letter to the Galatians. In Galatians 3:2, St. Paul states, "I want to learn only this from you. Did you receive the Spirit from works of the law or from faith in what you heard?" By this, St. Paul is saying that before the Galatians knew about the law, they had already received the Spirit. Thus, why do they need to follow the law now? In Galatians 3:19, St. Paul then states, "Why then the law? It was added for transgressions until the descendant came to whom the promise had been made." This passage is better understood by referencing to Romans 3:20, "For through the law comes consciousness of sin." St. Paul wants the Galatians to understand that the law's purpose is to identify our sins. Jesus, the descendant, fulfills God's promise and brings to perfection the law in two simple commandments. A third and final passage in which St. Paul expounds upon the theme is an allegory about Abraham and his two sons, one born by a free woman and another by a slave woman. Galatians 3:31 states, "Therefore, brothers, we are children not of the slave woman, but of the freeborn woman." St. Paul declares Christ set us free, Galatians 5:1, and that we are no longer slaves to the law. In conclusion, works of faith are what leads us to salvation, not following the law. Therefore, circumcision is not necessary for the Gentiles who have accepted Jesus. In the Catholic Church today, the theme found in Galatians 2:16, "A person is not justified by works of the law, but through faith in Jesus Christ," is practiced in the Church today. For one, the Jewish tradition of circumcision is no longer imposed. In addition, the Sabbath and prohibition of pork have been abandoned as well.